Tonight on Debate Amongst Friends. We had boxing over the weekend. Thoughts on the Triple G versus Canelo fight. And then on to the hardwood, where we had the top NBA players released on ESPN, where we're asking ourselves, do they even ball, bro? Kevin Durant tweeting everywhere. Kyrie's interview on First Take, NFL recap. Raw SmackDown review, as well as No Mercy predictions and more, starting now.
Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, welcome to Debate Amongst Friends, live on YouTube and on Twitch. This is the 73rd episode of the Sports Podcast on September 20th. I am your host with the most, the Professor John. And by my side, the most electrifying man in all of podcast. He ain't Dwayne, but he's definitely the Doc. How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing great, and for all those jabronis that want to talk about sports on ESPN, they should come over here and take a walk on the Debate Amongst Friends show. How you doing, sir?
Feeling pretty good. A lot of sports happening. A lot of news and that went down. Some good, some bad, some very, very, Well, show must go on, and we just gotta keep going forward, sir. I'm ready for a debate.
So, did we get robbed? I said robbed. With the Triple G versus Canelo fight?
We're stopping the show. We're stopping the show right now. Nope. Can't do it. Nope. Sorry.
Like when we expect someone to kind of show up or something to show up, and then nothing happens, and we're just left there with empty hands and broken dreams.
Wow. I can't believe you just...
A draw?
A draw.
I mean, at least it wasn't a $99 draw.
I mean, this is a great way for boxing to recover from the carnival that was Mayweather.
Yeah.
It was an engaging fight. Granted, Canelo did take a couple of rounds off, but it is.
And Oscar De La Hoya, I mean, he came out and said, "Oh, this fight doesn't need the hype, bro."
Oh, there's no bro there. It's just no hype,
bro. You said, but I mean, I didn't watch the whole thing. Of course, I watched some of the highlights, but a draw, it's just, especially hearing that you just said that it took some rounds off. That just makes it sound like, again, more propaganda to get more fights.
Well, not just more fights, but more cash.
We're already talking about a rematch, and of course, by more fights, I mean more cash.
Of course,
we're all trying to create the cash. Of course, I guess, my brother.
At a price, nah.
Because they're the $1 million man.
But
of course,
but back to the fight itself, though, it's great for the sport because it needs to recover for it. It was a pretty good fight for what it was. Especially in comparison with the last boxing fight. And it's a shame that we have to make this comparison. But that last fight was such a cash grab that everyone knew what was going to happen, but they expected something different.
Because I'm trying to see the disparity here. So, even CBS Sports here, I'm looking at the scorecard for CBS Sports. They gave Triple G 117-111 over Alvarez. I mean, so there's definitely a disconnect here, almost as if somebody might have get paid off here.
Well, I mean, they both get paid.
I'm talking about a referee or a judge.
It was that last judge. It was the last judge. That is the person who, uh, his last name is Bird. I'm not gonna say the first name. I don't butcher first names.
I mean, that is for the birds.
But people are now saying the fight was fixed. They're trying to say that the judge was on a payroll. You know, the judge had an agenda. I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is. I mean, he marked, a split well, as you said, split booked it, well, not judged it straight down the middle and called it a split. But the unfortunate part is now we have to do a match, and perhaps, and I said this immediately after the fight. Not only will there be a second match, there will guaranteed be a third.
Right.
So this is basically to go back to like WCW days. Like that third match is going to be the grudge match. This 15-minute time limit match is scheduled for one fall as a grudge match. You remember those?
My thing is, it's like, it definitely wasn't a draw. If you could have clearly seen that somebody took rounds off, and of course, when fatigue and everything kicks in, which is why being a boxer as a profession is rough, and that's why we definitely give credit where credit is due. The fatigue factor in boxing, which of course ultimately did, that fake fight with Mayweather and freaking McGregor. I mean, fatigue played a big factor in that ending early. But in this particular situation, just looking at the highlights, I mean, to me, it was almost like, hey, I don't want to give anybody the win here. I'm kind of torn, guys. It's like that day where you come home from dinner and you're like, oh, do I want tacos today or do I want pizza? Oh, you know what? I'll just go get one slice and then go get one taco, and that'll satisfy my hunger.
Yep.
But this is not the same, You can't do that, sir. If it wasn't split down the middle, maybe his calculations are wrong.
I mean, in his defense, the last 3 rounds of the match, all 3 judges, and I'm actually looking at the scorecard, all 3 judges scored the same way. For the last 3 rounds, all 3 judges judged the same way for the first 2 rounds.
Okay.
So it's in that meaty middle is where the controversy is now. Still talking about those 3 rounds that Alvarez took off. And at the end of the day, boxing is getting what they want. Boxers are getting what they want, which is a bigger paycheck. And, for the purists, they're going to get what they want because they didn't get what they wanted last time there was a fight.
True.
I mean, that's the nitty-gritty, unfortunately. I mean, it's crazy because now people are putting up biographies about this judge and trying to look through his history. And I'm just like, I mean, he made a judgment call. We just have to live through it now.
Well, that goes back to your comment 2 weeks ago when we were talking about the super fight of the mega century here. The mega fight of the century, Mayweather versus McGregor, of course, where I asked you that same week is when John Jones got caught doping. And we said, well, I think I said, well, who cares, if he's caught doping? And I think you said, well, the people who are betting on him.
Yes.
So in this situation, this judge cost people a lot of money.
A lot of people lost a lot of money. Those very few and far and few, and I'm not trying to get Teamsters upset with me, so, But, the people who knew, who had it in, and made the bet for them having the in, made a lot of cash. That over-under for them drawing is ridiculous.
I'm sure. It's unbelievable. The reads. But then again, that's where somebody would
But
come in
is
and
it
say,
reads or is it just having the inside scoop?
I'm going to throw this out there, and I don't know if Helen's going to like it. But it takes a lot of guts, I'll say. We won't throw Helen in there. It takes a lot of guts
Testicular
to,
fortitude? Is that what you're trying to
yes,
say?
something like that, to bet on a draw in boxing. Because I mean, it happens, but
It doesn't
with a
happen as much
fight,
as you think.
right, a fight of this magnitude,
I
a
mean,
draw
to put it
makes it feel,
in a 100% scale, it happens like maybe 8% of the time. And that's probably still being overgenerous.
but I wonder how many people bet on that 8%. You know, and that's where it comes down to. That's where I would want to see the numbers. I want to see the dollars because then we had to see, of course, we just got to see who bet what, man. I mean, that's just amazing to me.
Well, maybe not individually, but yes, as a group, it would be great to see what was the complete spread of who betted for whom.
We need to get that data to the data analyzing ninja himself, the Professor John Gotti, the King of Anji, the Troll Master, the data analyzing ninja, as I mentioned already, the Conqueror.
Yeah, good save.
No, but seriously, we do need to get that data to you. But yeah, it's an interesting finish. I do hope they do a second one. I'm sure it'll create the same cash.
Hmm.
I really do just hope boxing in general does just get more hype. No, bro, but more hype.
And they will. It is going to take time. They need to find that new breakout star. It just takes time. Like, people just got to be patient about it. And once it hits, everyone's going to be riding that wave and it's going to feel good.
There is a boxing documentary called Counterpunch on Netflix. There's a few shows. I'm not sure if you had a chance to check it out. It's actually, I think, pretty new. And there are some young boxers. I think one is 18, 19 years old. And boxing, just like every other sport, gives people an opportunity to basically kind of get out of the streets and off that corner life or whatever life that they may be on. And there's actually a young kid in the show, which I've only watched one episode, but based on that one episode, I was able to see how serious he could be as a professional
Yes.
if he was a pro. I'm actually looking forward to really just seeing that because he actually looks pretty good. But we need more people boxing, and I don't know. I just don't know. Like, how can we get more boxing? You know what I mean?
You got to spend more money. You got to
And
spend
that's
more
where it
money for these boxers now. That's what it is. All about the money.
And that's where it gets kind of ridiculous. Actually, the kid goes by the name of, I think Little Hop, I think it is, or Little B Hop. No relations to Bernard Hopkins, but they say that he boxes like him, so he kind of got the name Little Hop or something of that nature. But definitely Counterpunch on Netflix. Definitely check it out if you get a chance.
Absolutely. So let's shift from the boxing ring. Kyrie Irving.
Yes, Kyrie Irving. Who cares?
Really?
What, when, why, and how? Okay, who cares?
Oh, okay.
Why he
I know what you
requested
mean now.
a
Okay,
trade?
okay, okay. I was like, wait,
Where
what?
he requested the trade to go to? How it was done?
Mm-hmm.
You know what made him do it? Like, it doesn't matter. He wanted to get out.
Yep.
Since LeBron hugged him and told him we would be back after the finals loss.
Yes.
When LeBron put his arm around him like, yo, we'll be back. No, my guy, we won't be back because I'm out.
So I will applaud Kyrie Irving definitely showed an professionalism in dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Smith and one of the things that he said, I knew what I wanted to do. I waited for the right time.
He probably wanted to get out before LeBron even decided to come back.
I think by the time, and of course we can only
Speculate
on it. We're not trying to be like that pissant website. That.
Oh God.
It's highly possible that once LeBron decided to take probably one of the most Kyrie knew what the man if another alpha just comes in and it's hard. It's tough.
Especially if he was given the reins, which multiple people have now. But you're given the reins, you say, hey, LeBron left, we're going to build this team around Kyrie. Man, forget all this, man. Kyrie's our guy, man. Nah, skip that. Forget LeBron. Burn his jerseys. We want no LeBron.
Really?
No
because
LeBron.
Not only did no one burn his back, they jumped right on his
bandwagon
ego.
God.
As soon as he announced his return, which thick with the entire Cavaliers fan base outside and projectile bomb it.
So the one thing I wanted to point out here as I'm looking through reading the transcript of the interview, and there's two quick comments that I saw here, and I wanted to just get some thoughts on it, because the Cavs, this year they were built on veterans, the backs of veterans, a lot of veteran presence, guys who had been to the playoffs, who had been in the championships, who had done a lot of things in their careers.
Yes.
Kyrie said, I just wanted to be in an environment where I felt I could be taught every single day. So just that part of the sentence makes me think, all right, there's a disconnect between the veteran leadership on the team and his ability to grow. But then he goes on to say, and he has that demand from my coaching staff and have that demand from a franchise that would propel me to exceed my potential.
Yes.
So not only is he now saying, hey, the players aren't building me, because I don't know if LeBron makes people better. And I guess that's where the GOAT conversation comes in.
Oh, boy.
I'm being honest here, though. I'm telling you, if Kyrie, who is the second best player on the team, think about this now. When you go back, LeBron didn't have to make Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh better.
Nope.
You know what I mean? They dang sure didn't make Mario Chalmers better.
Mario Chalmers? Mario
Chalmers shouldn't even hold a basketball.
He shouldn't
be. Bro. But Kyrie's kind of expanding on that, saying, hey, this situation here is not going to make me a better basketball player. I'm 25 years old. I'm evolving, and I want to be in a position to grow. I guess he feels that Brad Stevens can do that for him.
I think Brad Stevens can definitely do
that. Now, let's hear about this one here. Let's see. There were times when after games, I would go out and shoot. And as any professional athlete or any person knows, when you're in your workplace and you have those tough days, there are questions that you ask yourself. Is this the right thing for me right now?
Yes.
And the question is, to me, as a professional, to you as a professional, whether we're talking podcasts or our professional careers, if we ever get to that point in our life where we have to ask ourselves, is this the right fit for me? You already know that it's not. You understand what I'm saying? Like, come on. If you have to ask, hey, man, I'm just trying to figure out if this is the right place for me, that means you've already determined.
You already have doubts in your mind. You
Exactly.
are not completely checked out, but you're pretty checked out.
You're pretty far gone. So it's just little things like this. Even the next highlight, and I like how ESPN highlighted some of these key things on their article here. Just a few things that really just stand out, and I'm glad they highlighted here. I'm ready to move on and ready to be on my own. I'm ready to try out new situations and be in an environment where I can feel and be completely happy. Come on, bro. This sounds like regular old, hey, I'm going from one job to another job. Because of leadership or management. I don't like the way things are being done here. They're not giving me the recognition. I'm not getting paid the amount of money I want to get paid. I'm being, I'm being micromanaged. You're bringing in this guy who I know isn't better than me, but you're paying him more money. You got this guy trying to hog up all the spotlight. You got this person here, this coach who thinks they're a know-it-all. I mean, it's just too many things, man. I mean, honestly, it's just regular business issues. Hard
to just let the boys play.
I mean, doesn't it sound like regular business issues? I mean, just think about it. I feel like
it's way more than that. I feel like, and he said one of the biggest things that he said.
No, a lot.
One of the things that he said, culture, which comes into what you were just talking about, as far as like being management treats you. But he said that it was.
All these are things that even like us as regular professionals who do everyday jobs want. That's what we want. We said the same. Hey, come on. So I mean, it just seems like this is just it's almost like Kyrie's like, hey, this is my job, man, and like I'm not really feeling this.
Yep.
And I want to leave. So you know what? I'm leaving.
Good on him for doing that too.
Absolutely, because once you realize that you're not happy, again, when you ask yourself that question.
I mean, as soon as you ask yourself that question, you already have one foot out the door.
This is true.
Like, it will take the right kind of management. Because up to that point, you haven't done anything to Kyrie that this is the place. Type of winning team, and based on what he's saying, and trying to read into it too much, what he said on ESPN, but it's really hard to.
Let me ask you this, and of course, I don't know how much time we have left on this particular topic here. Speaking of taking things out of context and too far, what do you think here? Because he was asked verbatim, did you want to get away from LeBron?
I like his answer.
It doesn't.
It doesn't matter.
I mean, the LeBron reaction would say different, of course.
And of course, if he said, well, no, then people say, well, Kyrie's lying. Like, well, at the end of the day.
I mean, it kind of comes down to a say what you need to say kind of thing.
And he did a great job with that. Because I felt like that was something that pissant. Oh, I got 20 years of sports experience. Yeah.
No shoes on.
Kick pebbles. Bam, bam, bam.
Bam, bam.
But his questioning patterns. The question he was asking, it was like they was trying to get a story. Kyrie's like, I just didn't want to be there anymore. I don't know what I want to grow as an individual. I want to develop my. I feel like being in there. That part I'm reading into it too. That's what he's trying to convey. Not trying to be a one-dimensional. A lot of the sports analysts were getting on Kyrie about a lot of things that he did. Us included.
True. It's absolutely.
But we looked at it in a very, unbiased way. Noticed
Right.
the things that he did really. But we also
Which
said
is what we
it wasn't
do.
just Kyrie that caused them to lose, whereas a lot of other people, ESPN,
Ooh.
sat there and basically made it convey that the Cavs lost the finals because of Kyrie Irving.
And if, I mean,
LeBron
come
James averaged a triple-double, so, pass for this one. Like, how many passes have he had in the finals so far? This is number 3?
A lot of passes. That's all I know. It's a whole bunch. Yeah, he gets a lot. He definitely gets a lot.
Someone who's supposed to be called the GOAT isn't really looking very like. He's looking very Jim Anvil Neidhart-like. Underappreciated, very overrated. Well, overappreciated, very overrated, and is not who we thought he was.
I mean, he's like the Bears, I guess.
Like the.
Oh, October.
Oh, we're shooting from the hip, ladies and gentlemen. This is
true.
happening today. But I really enjoyed
true.
what he was saying, and people were asking on the social. I had a great chance to conversations on both and on Twitter about whether or not, and this is the big question: how many championships will Kyrie earn? I said absolutely he can. First of all, the East completely suck right now because there's only what?
2, 3 teams that are
One, two, maybe 2.5 teams that has top 50 players in the league.
Do we ever count the Raptors?
No, you never count the Raptors.
That's where it comes in. Do we count the Raptors? Because they're always that second to fourth team. It's always basically
I'll
do
give
we
you
count
an
the Raptors?
analysis of the Raptors. The Raptors are Brooklyn Nets of the playoffs.
You're really really thick with these Nets, huh?
Okay, the Raptors are the New York Knicks front office.
Ooh-wee, that is just stinking.
Okay, the Raptors are the NBA league office back in 2002 after the Sacramento Kings got screwed.
Wow. Making this hard, man. You're making this hard.
Okay, the Raptors, what have you done for Doc and Prof lately? The answer is nothing, because ever since how you faced off against a legitimate team in the playoffs, you got completely rocked.
And honestly, I think that the only news that we got out of the Raptors was from DeMar DeRozan saying he wished he played with LeBron.
Okay, the Toronto Raptors are what the Atlanta Hawks were back when Joe Johnson was still playing there. I'm going there.
I can agree with that. And I mean, ISO Joe, he tries his best, but I don't know if it'll ever work for him.
Here's why I said that one. Those Hawk teams were really good. Josh Smith was a stud on defense before he got exposed completely.
Absolutely.
And once it hit the playoff, where's the Raptors? Where are the
home?
Where are they?
Drinking their lattes.
Where are they? Oh, they're out there in South Beach, enjoying the beach time, and forget to leave the beach to actually play the game. That's where they were.
Absolutely. I agree. I completely agree. It's those teams, and at one point the Celtics were that team also.
The Celtics were that team.
I think they're going to be better this year because they got some fresh talent. They got some guys who are able to stay healthy. They got some guys who can really create some shots for themselves. Only person I worry about really is Al Horford in this whole thing.
Who is still top 5 center in the center positions. Okay. I mean, Is the center position obsolete now? I feel like it is.
That's
Coach
an excuse.
Coach for B-Ball Breakdown disagreed with me, but I
Yeah.
mean, it's really hard for me to really look at a legitimate center.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, we're talking Ben Wallace, but at least Ben Wallace could play frickin'. That's why he's a frickin' Hall of
Yeah.
Fame candidate.
He is.
Whereas most of these frickin' scrubs isn't even going to be worth eye wink to the Hall of Fame. Not even worth popping the top off of a $1 bottle of wine.
Would you give them the credit of being the bottom of the mop that mops up the sweat from those who are worthy?
No, not even that.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, that's the Professor John Gotti going in.
It just get me upset because the Eastern Conference suck.
It does. It sucks,
and I feel like every single time they get progressively better, they get increasingly worse.
So I feel like the GMs on the East, and we always talk about this, but the GMs on the East.
Ego all the time? Oh wait.
Oh God.
I said ego, Helen. I said ego. Get back to your office.
The problem is the GMs on the East are building teams to get to the playoffs.
Yes.
Where the GMs in the West are like, hey man, we know we could win it all. We just got to build a team to win a championship.
Yes.
A sustainable team to win a championship.
Absolutely.
That means injuries, that means fatigue, that means scoring, that means defense, the whole nine.
Yes.
So when you see the New Orleans Pelicans out there trading future assets for Boogie Cousins, that's for, hey, we want to make sure we can try and do this.
Yes.
You know, when you see teams moving players around and bringing people in via free agency or draft, in the East, really there was only one team who did that, and that was the Celtics.
But I mean, was that even a blockbuster trade?
Well, it was more blockbuster because of the media coverage and the way they portrayed it. I mean, really, to me, it was just.
Well, it was a boring week. It was a Tuesday.
Yeah, it was more.
I mean, Raul Julia said it best. For me, it was.
It was blockbuster more for the Cavs because they not only freed up money, but they also stole a first-round pick, which is kind of ridiculous, which I feel like is going to be one of those things where if LeBron leaves or he does decide to retire after being in, 900 games straight, it would be irony if they wind up getting their first pick in the draft again. And we're right back to square one. You just thought about how real that could be. Come on, you gotta think about how real.
And it is real because unfortunately that's the Nets.
That's the Nets pick.
It goes right back all around again.
I mean, and don't get me wrong, it could easily turn out to be.
Well, it could pretty much be a top 3 pick, especially with the new projected changes towards the draft, where the bottom 3 all have the same percentage chances of.
And this is what I will say about that. The Nets, they have an opportunity in a weak East to run with their 2 new guards because they got D'Angelo Russell, they got Jeremy Lin. 2 guys fully capable of driving the lane and working some magic. They got Trevor Booker, who's a scorer. They picked up Harrell. They picked up some pretty solid role players. So, I mean, if they can pull it together, honestly, if they made a trade for a real big man outside of Mozgov, somebody that can actually score some proactive points, not more reactive points, then they might be able to to compete for an 8th seed and bring home glory to October. In your October, that is. If they're able to do that. But if not, it'll just be same old Nets.
Let's continue on before we go into another.
Well, let's move to the Western Conference. So clearly we had Tweetgate. Tweeting everywhere. Can you explain to me what the heck happened, sir? Like, I got so lost because at first it seemed like the Twitter page was hacked. Then it was like, oh, I forgot to log out, or I forgot to change something. So I got kind of lost in the shuffle. Will somebody please explain to me what the heck is going on and why people are talking about it? I'm trying to work out at the gym, and all I see is tweedledee, tweedledee. Sorry.
Wow.
Come on.
Wow. So first of all, people have no lives.
Clearly.
Because major news in the NBA.
Was it really him?
And I don't care if it was him. They talk about it was his brother. I don't care who did it. The fact is, what he written was the truth.
It really was.
It was the truth, and people lost their minds.
And now let me ask you, because they did write some stuff about Billy Donovan. I mean, Billy Donovan only had 1 year with KD.
Yes.
I mean, was that fair or foul?
I felt like Donovan was in a losing battle as soon as he accepted.
Because they let go of Scotty Brooks.
Exactly.
And
that Thunder locker room really.
I mean, they went pretty deep in the playoffs. They went to the finals. I mean, we always talk about that, especially with, let's say, like Kevin McHale, for example. I mean, clearly JB Bickerstaff didn't have a chance. No. I mean, come on.
I mean,
so
take what happened with the Warriors. Mark Jackson.
True.
I mean, granted, it translated into a championship, but at the same time, it was like, well, it could sound like
Steve Kerr.
The team was in disarray, kind of thing. And when we first talked about that, I mentioned Tampa Bay Bucks scenario.
You did, and it was a good scenario because that's really kind of the last time we were in the playoffs, so it makes sense. And I mean, but the Warriors were in the playoffs. That was the only difference. They were in the playoffs. They just couldn't get over the hump.
Almost 60-win team.
Yeah, they couldn't get over the hump of going further in the playoffs. I mean, it's basically the same as firing David Blatt.
Well, David Blatt was already on the hot seat because LeBron James came to town. He went up to David Blatt and said, "I'm the captain now."
So, I mean, I feel like that was a, ego contest.
It was a ego measuring contest. It was. Yeah, everyone knew it was. It was.
Ego measuring. That's a good one. Yes, definitely. And I don't think Blatt deserves that, nor do I believe Blatt really deserves not to be coaching at this time.
Mm-hmm. Well, at least in the league.
But I mean, that seems to be how things are happening these days.
A player-driven league have way more say. All to say.
And that's LeBron James.
LeBron James is the equivalent of John.
And his name is John Cena. Wow. I mean, I definitely agree with that. And I can see someone like Roman Reigns, a la name any basketball player you want, whether that be KD, because KD has fully gone heel at this point.
Oh, absolutely. and I love it.
He's gone heel, and it's like he's tasted the gold, and you got to be bold to wear that
You
gold.
gotta be bold to wear the.
And he has gone complete heel.
I mean, it's almost like he's the Blackheart.
Oh my god! Like, I mean, but we do gotta love it though.
I
We do
try
have
to be a nice guy. I try to play by the rules, but
but
enough is
now
enough, and it's time.
you guys can stick it. That was the big line back in the day. You
It
guys can,
was.
or
It
shove
was.
it.
You guys
Yeah,
can just shove it.
shove it, or stick it. But
I've been here for 10 years, and I never got
mhm.
my chance. Dang it, I'm gonna get my chance right now. You're just gonna stand there and shut up.
And, not getting too deep into it, but I kind of got that feel from Elias the other day or yesterday when he was doing his little.
Oh, well, we'll get to
spiel.
wrestling. Let's finish
Yes.
up this stuff before we go.
Well, no. I just wanted because I would have lost that. There's no way I would have remembered that at the end of the show. But that's the only time I want to bring it up.
Okay.
It's just that part right there. But yeah, it kind of got that feel. But I mean, moving on from KD, like, are we gonna get over this? Is this gonna last another week or two? Like, what do you think's gonna happen with this crap?
It's gonna pass over by the end of next week. Probably by the end of this week. Like, it just shows that people just had nothing else to do with their. KD told the truth. Well, I don't care. He said all this and he's trashing his team. Did he really trash his team, or did he just? Well, he's trashing him. You're an idiot. You're an idiot, and you're a complete disgrace.
I mean, it's really disrespectful to us and the sporting business.
You should throw away your keyboard.
And yes, we are putting Baby in the corner.
Baby, you ain't moving for that corner.
Shut up.
You wanna dance?
That was my hair.
You start. Okay, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Because we're gonna sit here and do quotes the entire show. Stop it.
So, moving on from the NFL, the NBA, we get to the NFL, the gridiron here, where we had some good games. Where I wanted to start, because there were a lot of Facebook posts, there were a lot of memes, there were
a lot of shade.
A lot of shade thrown at two games in particular. Two games in particular. The first one is the Giants game.
Yes.
The Giants and the Lions. Oh my God. Giants, Lions.
And losses.
And
oh my.
And nothing else. Oh my.
The Giants are in trouble. The Giants have issues on their offensive side, which is now hurting their defense.
Their defense is starting to look overpaid, and their offense underpaid. The defense is good on paper.
The defense is very well, not even just on paper. I think the problem is the fact that their offense can't get the offense can't get anything going, so their defense get winded really fast. Like at the beginning of the game, for that first quarter and a half, like, in that first half, the defense was doing their jobs. Offense couldn't get anything going.
And that's where it's kind of weird. And that's where it's kind of weird because when you have, and it could be the running game, and that's where it goes back to
the running game, but it was also the passing game too.
Like, hey, well, just think about it like this. Maybe if the Giants would have scored Adrian Peterson, they might have had a better chance of moving the football.
Oh, they wish that they had each other right now, because that running game, big pile of
manure. You're right. And we hate manure.
So that was the first game where there's a lot of shadiness happening.
The second, sir.
And you was part of this one. You were definitely part of this one.
That was an accident because I just saw it and I was just like, wow, I can't believe somebody really did that. And it was shady. It was a one lose for me. Just posting it.
And it started with me just posting one thing about the game. And it just blew up. It wasn't even anything I said that was shady. It was just me just talking about the game. And people went off on this whole thing.
The Dallas Cowboys and the Denver Broncos, which after the rain delay, I stopped watching. I went to Olive Garden where I got their buy one, take one deal.
Oh, wait. Doc. We can't say that unless they're going to pay us.
I mean, it was good. I give them credit.
I understand it was good, but they need to send us a check. They need to go
they
talk
do.
to Scott.
Come on, Scott.
I mean, just like tonight's sponsor, Stella. Rosa.
Oh. No.
Make sure you pick up a nice, good bottle of Stella Rosa. They have their brand new Stella Rosa Black. It is delicious. They make sure you pick up at your local store too. Always drink responsibly.
John Gotti plays. But the Cowboys. So Zeke ran for 8 yards.
Yes. Yeah. That is the punchline for the week.
Well, what really got me was the meme that I put on with James Harden serving as the defensive coordinator. That was so rough. That was so rough to post. It was rough to see.
As soon as I seen it, I was like, Doc, please. Doc, why would you do that? Don't you know how many Giant fans are out there? And,
I do.
And, just Cowboy hater. I'm not a Cowboys fan. But
I'm not
hate
a
on the team.
either. But that was just so funny because
like
obviously
the same things that you'll hear me say about the Cowboys, I'll say it about every other team. I am an equal opportunity bringer down of their hype.
I basically just threw an alley-oop on that one.
You did.
I mean,
and about 10,000 people grabbed it and dunked it at the same time and broke the rim.
It was so funny.
It was basically a
8 yards. 8 yards, bro.
It was 8 yards. It was a rough outing for the Cowboys.
They had Trevor Siemian out there looking like Drew Brees.
They had Trevor Siemian out there looking.
It was pretty terrible. It was terrible. But 8 yards. 8 yards looks like he should have just took the suspension.
That's not even the problem. The problem is the total rushing yards for this team was 40 flipping yards for the game. Dak Prescott ran for 24 yards. He was the leading rusher.
9 yards, bro.
9 yards.
8 yards. 8 yards, excuse me. That's unacceptable.
8 yards on 9 carries. That's what you meant to say.
For a guy that his taunt is eating.
Oh.
It was like, put the food down, step away from the table, and go to your room.
He was eating it, right? He ate so much that he got indigestion.
I mean, will somebody please get him some Pepto-Bismol?
Would someone please give him some Tom?
But the other game, of course, I know if the Duke was on, he would be gloating about his Titans beating the Jaguars, of course. But he's not on, so we're going to skip right past that one.
Wow, the shade! The shade!
But the Falcons beating up on the Packers is a pretty interesting game.
That was an interesting game. I wouldn't say they necessarily beat up on them.
Well, the score doesn't tell. They were really beating up on them. They really were. The score makes it seem a little closer, but the Falcons were really, really beating up on them.
Aaron Rodgers threw for 343 and 2 touchdowns and a pick.
The score stats make it seem like they were close, but they were getting beat up on. Like Aaron Rodgers was getting hit, sacked,
Aaron Rodgers was getting hit a lot, but you can't say you can say they was physically being dominated.
But we talked about that. We talked about that last week because Aaron Rodgers threw for 300 yards last week against a team, and I think the Duke said if somebody throws for 300 yards, we're gonna have to have a conversation with the defense coordinator. I mean, I just feel like Aaron Rodgers is the kind of guy where it's no longer 300 yards. Is if he throws for 400 yards, then we got a problem. Because 300 yards, I feel like Aaron Rodgers can throw in his sleep.
I feel like he can get 250 in his sleep. Is that a fair assessment?
I can agree with that.
I wouldn't say 300, but 250. He can.
And of course, the last game, of course, I want to talk
I
about.
was going to talk about their rushing game because that was what really hurt them. That's the part where they got physically dominated on.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Because they were getting beat up so badly in the beginning, they couldn't run the ball. Mm-hmm. That's another tall tale sign there. Because they were getting dominated in the beginning, they couldn't run the ball. They had to pass. It was pretty rough, man.
And then we had the Steelers destroying the Vikings.
I mean, and without Sam Bradford at the helm, I mean, that sounds weird just saying that, but
I was about to say, I'm like, really? Wasn't he just getting on Sam Bradford before the season started?
I think I said no, that wasn't him. But they needed him at least to win this game.
Oh, absolutely, hands down.
So, two-part question here. So obviously the Raiders went and beat up on the Jets, which
it's obvious, and that should happen.
Absolutely.
Raiders are definitely looking like a team that didn't really lose a step since the end of the regular season last season.
And let me go back because this is a two-part team question.
Go for it.
So the Jets, as we know, are starting Josh McCown. The Jaguars have Blake Bortles, Chad Henne, and they actually just signed Ryan Nassib. Are we ever going to get to a point where we're just going to let bygones be bygones and somebody says, you know what, I'm going to have to take this L on the amount of fans that show up to the game or the amount of fans that watch, but we need to win some games and get something going on here, and call Colin Kaepernick? Because Colin Kaepernick is better than at least 3 out of those 4 quarterbacks put together.
I'm going to answer the question with the... Dean Ambrose said it best when he said...
Oh, my God. I mean, we're in for a long season then.
Those teams are in for a long season, but they're not going to be willing to take that L. And that's the part that's so blasphemous, asinine, stupid. Any other synonyms to talk about how butt backwards they are.
I mean, we're talking about the team whose logo is a butt fumble.
Logo is synonymous with butt fumbles and tattoos of your quarterback. That's my quarterback, man.
That's my quarterback, man. But of course,
well, you said it was
we had.
Question. So what's the other?
Well, that was the part. The part was it was a 2-team question.
Oh, okay.
The Jets and the Jaguars, because the Jaguars signed Nassib, and that was rough.
Neither team's going to do that, and we know now. You know, Kaepernick is getting blackballed, and it's a shame. And honesty is the best policy, as we was brought up to honor, but apparently it doesn't work. And I am calling out all.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. You know,
everyone's at fault. I don't care if you have Tom flipping Brady on your team. If the guy is shot, and he could probably do wonders, he might end up being a bum, but you don't know this until you give it a shot.
There's no bigger bums than the people who are playing on some of these teams. I mean, Josh McCown, come on.
I mean, what? We had a quarterback who basically got brought on. Wasn't in football for like 2 years, and he got brought on, and he helped the team win like I think a few games and almost made the playoffs, kind of thing. It was like a few years ago. It doesn't matter because the guy was a player, but you know.
I mean, those stories happen all the time, though. When you think about it, I mean, Kurt Warner was doing something like that. He came back, you know. I mean, but we're talking about
Kurt Warner. I was thinking about, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
But like, who knows? I mean, and I'm gonna say this is gonna be very controversial. Piss
oh God! Oh God!
Colin Kaepernick could be the next Jeremy Lin for a team.
That's true.
Oh, Gotti's on fire. Hashtag Gotti on fire.
Oh man, not Jeremy. I know you love Linsanity.
No, I did not. Do not say that. I will have Chris mute you. We will cut the show if you ever say that again.
You loved it. Come on.
I did not. I've been on record to saying, yes, it's great to see my team win, but it means peanuts until we get to the playoffs. And we were making the playoffs that year. I think we was in.
You made the playoffs.
And
I said, people found out you didn't have a left.
I said it doesn't matter until we see what happens in the playoffs. And I knew he didn't have a left, but no one exposed it during the regular season because they didn't take him seriously.
I don't think anybody took him serious until Kobe said, "Who's that guy?"
Exactly. It was like, wait a minute, yeah, this guy isn't that good at all. Oh, let's defend him. Let's look at the tape from him. Let's check the tape. Oh, he doesn't have a left.
That's exactly what happened, and that was the night they beat him up. I remember.
Yep.
But of course,
and he got embarrassed so badly that the pigeons outside of MSG were laughing at him afterwards.
Oh, that sounds like a game that happened in October. Oh God! But you know my game of the week.
I can't believe you put there. I can't believe you just said that. And it wasn't in October, ladies and gentlemen. It was definitely during the summer.
Summer of October. But you know my game of the week.
Oh yes. It was probably my favorite game of the week, actually.
The Bucks dominating the Bears. Somebody tried to tell me today that it was just the Bears, but I was like, the Bears are 1-0 coming into this week. I mean,
okay, year. I felt you were trying to hype your team up a little too much because it's the freaking Bears. Everyone knows that the Bears are gonna.
Let me put this into perspective for you, because you just said about Aaron Rodgers. Mike Glennon threw for 300 yards,
and the Bears came in 0-1, not 1-0.
They didn't win a game last week.
No.
Well, they won a game last week. No. But anyway,
once again, that's what I said. I think you're trying to hype up that team to try to make it sound better, but it's okay. I'm with you though. It was a great game, but
I thought they won last week. They must have lost in a close one. Mike Glennon threw for 300 yards. I mean,
it was 23-17.
But I figured it was close. Yeah, so I mean, they didn't play terrible. Of course, he threw 2 interceptions, 1 pick six. And I think the other one was from a batted ball.
Yep.
And we didn't play all too great on offense either.
No, it was your defense that came out to play. I came to play.
Awesome.
But no, seriously,
seriously.
Your defense definitely stepped up. Jameis Winston had a rough day. 18 for 30, 204 for a touchdown. He didn't throw a pick. He definitely almost threw a couple of picks towards the end of the first half, though.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. And I was pretty happy with the way the offensive line protected him for the most part. I thought that they did a very, very great job. I do just think that the defensive line has to get more active. I think we only had 1, maybe 1.5 sacks. But we had a lot of quarterback pressure, so I was pretty happy with that. But, I mean, great game nonetheless. Great offensive line play.
You only have 1 sack.
1 sack, yeah. I think there were a lot of quarterback hits.
There was a lot of hits, yes.
Yeah. But I'm actually looking forward to Doug Martin coming back, honestly. Even though Jacquizz Rodgers had a pretty okay game, I'm looking forward to Doug coming back. And even Peyton Barber had a good game, but I'm definitely looking forward to the Doug or not coming back.
I will say there's one thing that I really liked what your offense did during this game. They kept Jameis in the pocket.
They did. They did a great job.
I think if they keep that kind of habit, it will spell more success.
This is the best pass blocking I've seen in the last 5 years.
Absolutely. And once, your receivers start getting a little bit more open, definitely Deshaun Jackson just, being that deep threat, it opens up more doors. O.J. Howard is still just learning the system, getting himself into it. I think he's going to just improve over time. Great had an okay game too. And Mike Evans, he had a pretty good game. 93 yards. It's
He
not,
definitely dominated.
it wasn't that bad of a game. The score should have been more than this.
And that's what I'm saying. Like with the scores, it's always kind of, kind of a lie almost, so to speak.
Yes, it should
You
have
know,
been more than this, but I mean, you still got the dub, and now.
dub is very important. Dub is very important. But I think that was really it for me for football. The games are a little better than last week.
Granted, I actually watched a few more games. Oh, and I also want to comment about the Patriots Saint game. Had a chance to listen to Tony Romo, his at the broadcast booth. He did a really good job.
He should.
He did a very good job. He was able to show the doc and prof like reads when it comes to predicting certain plays that was going to happen. Being able to give a little bit more in-depth analysis towards like what's actually happening in the game, and I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. It wasn't just lining up in the I formation and blah blah blah. Like he's like, yes, lining up in the I formation. Look like they're about to audible. Okay, yep, okay, and this is the defense right here. Yep, okay, they're gonna get about 7 yards with that. Got 7 yards from it. Like I really enjoyed that aspect of him doing that. I can't wait. Like that's exciting.
And he was on what, CBS?
Yes, he was on the CBS for the Patriots.
That's sweet.
Let me at least get that shout out there because people were kind of, hesitant about him being in. Dominated. I'm not gonna lie, he did his thing. He came out to play.
I mean, it's better than him being on his back.
From like footballs, X,
or getting injured,
or dating a Simpson.
Indeed.
So, anything else with football, sir?
Just how ridiculous that the Chiefs are thinking about trading Alex Smith. I'm pretty upset with that. Even though they drafted whatever that guy's name is, it kind of doesn't make any sense. Like I was telling somebody earlier, let that guy sit. I mean, Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre. I mean, this guy can't sit behind Alex Smith.
And Alex Smith is balling, though.
Exactly. That's why it just doesn't make any sense. And of course, this could be media baiting, of course.
It's worse than masturbating. I went there.
Wow.
I went there.
I can't believe you said that.
I went there.
But I just don't like it.
We have to wait and see if it's actually going to be true or not.
Yeah, it sounds like debating, but I don't know.
It'll be a dumb move for a team that is in line to make it really deep in the play.
Right, because they've already beaten the favorites.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, the AFC West is loaded.
True.
Like, we will probably have 3 teams from that division in the playoffs. Probably.
True.
All of them vying for the championship of that division, which is insane.
Very true.
And all should most likely be 10-win.
And that's where it's going to get crazy. That's where it's going to get crazy. But that was the last thing for me for football. Interesting week. Like I said, it was definitely better than last week. And hopefully this week is better. I know won't be able to watch any games this coming week and could potentially miss some wrestling, but I'm going to have to work my Doc magic.
Better than Twin Magic.
But I know we have to move on to the squared circle.
Speaking of fake things that men enjoy.
Oh, God.
Let's talk wrestling. All right, we're back.
Yeah, I feel like I just got a technical.
I think we all got a technical. I don't think Chris liked that. I think he's a Bella fan.
Oh my God!
I don't think that was a thing I should do.
Yeah, I was like literally a technical foul was called on the play, freezing us completely. and sending it to the
He's like,
sideline
don't you
for a
talk
second.
smack about my Nikki.
Oh my God. Oh God, bless. But Raw?
Let's talk the go home show for No Mercy. Raw this past Monday night.
Was it Raw? Was Raw War this week? Do you think?
Raw was, how to say this without making people upset. Raw was the equivalent of a Star Wars fight at a comic book convention.
Wow. Wow.
I don't think anyone got that reference at all.
I don't think so either.
But that's the point.
I'm trying to figure out the significance to all of the other matches that isn't the final one.
The final two.
It's like the final match with, Jason Jordan, Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy, Elias, Bo Dallas, and Kurt. I'll just say Kurt right now, because I don't feel like saying the whole name. All of the matches, like as far as Bray Wyatt and Dustin Rhodes, like I felt that mini feud was kind of stupid. Yeah, I like to throw kinda in there because I'm sure there's a method to the madness somewhere 9 levels deep.
Really? That made me go.
It's almost like the movie Inception. It's like somewhere in the dream within a dream that somebody else is dreaming within that dream that it makes sense.
It was like the movie The Room.
Wow.
And it made me want to project out.
Wow. But I mean, things like Apollo Crews fighting Kurt Hawkins.
Which is stupid. Now they're doing a count for his losing streak. The first thing I love is like, what? Now Curtis Hawkins could be the next Barry Horowitz or something?
Oh my God.
Like, now does win and losses matter now? Because apparently it didn't before.
It never did for Bray Wyatt.
In the ball!
Oh.
Oh, No Mercy.
So
Speaking of No Mercy.
And I don't blame you. And then you also had, the Sheamus and Cesaro, the tag team, which...
As much excitement as it was once it all began, the luster of excitement is gone. Because we're seeing the same flipping week.
We are.
The same flipping matches.
Yeah. And that's why I'm asking if any of the other matches really mattered.
No!
Like, what was the point of those? But I really didn't like the last match either. I hated the fact that Jeff and Matt Hardy were both in the match. I hated the fact that Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel were in the match. I felt like Elias's promo was the best thing that happened.
It was
for this whole match.
It was the best thing. Of course, they was going to let Jason Jordan win because they want him to get into that program with the Miz. Fortunately, he has the charisma of a dry sponge on Arizona.
Every time he does his hawking thing, it reminds me of Gilbert.
Every time he does his hawking thing, I didn't having a seizure.
Like, it just reminds me of Gilbert coming out with the sprinklers.
Like, it was like one of Rock's faces when he was hawking the Big Show.
Yeah, I mean, he's so clean cut, but
like,
he's
very
so
Happy
dry.
Gilmore like.
Yeah, like.
Oh gosh, probably. Oh gosh, don't start that meme. Happy Gilmore. Oh. Side by side picture of Happy Gilmore and Jason Jordan with both of them doing that face. Separated at birth? Question mark.
Now, can I ask you why they called it a 6-pack challenge?
Because apparently Fatal 6-Way sounds sexual, baby. Yeah!
And 6-pack doesn't? I mean, come on. Bo Dallas definitely doesn't have a 6-pack. Nor does Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy, or really anyone else in the match.
Exactly.
Maybe Jason Jordan.
Probably not.
Maybe.
Probably not.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
But then the Miz gets involved, and it was just pretty stupid.
It turned stupid. It started off stupid, and then it turned asinine, and then it ended up just being. Uh,
What I
I
was, what I,
should have mind my studies instead.
for real, what do you think about the continuing torture that Enzo's receiving? Yeah, I feel like they're just feeding him to the bigs at this point. He
I
got beat up
mean,
by Braun Strowman this week.
we all knew that he was gonna get punished. Not surprising. He's not gonna win at No Mercy, and if he wins at No Mercy, it's gonna be another freaking Jinder Mahal issue.
Hmm. They would have to set up a. They would have to set up a somebody to come down and interfere somehow.
Yeah, Big Cat's gonna come down and help Enzo.
But Big Cass is out on the shelf, isn't
I
he?
know.
That would be weird.
I mean, the worst part about the whole Enzo situation, I had a chance to look at the clip from 205. But he cut a promo with Neville, and he ended the promo by kicking Neville in his Adrian's.
Yo, Adrian!
Which,
Terrible.
okay, by the way, I'm still looking for someone to make a gif of Neville after he got hit in the nuts. Because that was probably the funniest thing I've seen all week. Because he is standing there hopping. Like, you know, normally people get hit in you know, a low blow, they just go down. Or, you know, they slowly go down. Like, he was hopping for like a good 30 seconds before he went down. It is hilarious.
That sounds funny.
Like, I literally had to rewind it like 5 times. It was just too funny.
Yeah, it definitely sounds funny.
But, I mean, 205 isn't getting the love that they deserve anyways.
It's not your. It's not our old WCW cruiserweights.
No, not even by a lot.
But even they had a better storyline. Like, you know, there was at least 2 cruiserweight matches per show. There was, you know, it wasn't like, hey, the cruiserweights are gonna have their own show. Like, I get what they're doing, but it's like we only see 4 cruiserweights at a time here. You know, unless we watch.
The problem is we see the same freaking matches with the cruiserweights all the time. A 6-man match, a tag team match, a singles match of the same combination of people. And it's sad, it's old, and it's done.
Agreed. I mean, what do we have to do? I mean, what the heck?
Apparently nothing, really, because time continually gets shorter and shorter. I mean, Neville had a pretty okay match with Grand Metalik. Could have went a little bit longer. And that was it. You know, that was pretty much 205 Live. But back to Raw, I guess we should talk about the 2. The first one is the Raw's Women's title match, which is now suddenly a 5-way. Your thoughts on that one, sir?
Somewhere in the world there's a toilet flushing.
Someone is reaching.
They have to use the thought of this 5-way to wipe their butt.
Exactly. Suddenly Bayley came back because it was her hometown, which, you know, great pop. Then suddenly she got put into the 5-way. Who is she, Lana?
I don't know. I mean, to me, if they're going to build this up to have them, well, is this going to be a elimination, or is this going to be like a one person?
Who knows? They're going to let us know as soon as the match starts.
Because if this is an elimination, it's probably going to go down the same way it went last time, where all the girls gang up on Nia Jax, they pin her or whatever, and get her out of the match, you know?
Well, the worst part about that whole stupid segment, which, oh yeah, Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss had a match.
Right.
Was the fact that Emma was
She's
nowhere
like
to be found.
Yeah. And that's why I really believe Emma might come away winning this.
No, she's not. And we'll talk about that during our prediction. They're treating them with no respect either. Like it's stupid, and it's gonna get to another point we're gonna.
I
Let's
mean,
talk about the big two matches. Let's
let's
talk
just
about Roman Reigns suffering succotash promo that he cut.
I know you hated the use of that video from 2012, was it?
Yep, it was 2012. It was when John Cena and The Rock was feuding with each other.
Hmm.
I'm like, what's the beef with that? That's probably the weakest reason.
I mean, the only reason I could think that he used the video is because the same way that he was describing The Rock, Roman Reigns is basically saying that he could describe him the same way now.
But the problem is, John Cena didn't do what The Rock did. He wasn't not on every other, like, once every month kind of thing. Like, he really was on every single week, even though he was trying to do the stuff in Hollywood. Like, no,
True.
he doesn't get the pass with that. Stop it.
He tried.
He tried and failed.
And that's the thing. I mean, they really do try. And then, of course, there was the cursing at the end of it.
Oh my gosh! I I actually jokingly was telling Roman Reigns is slowly but surely turning Scary Terry, who uses the B word for most of his characters. Scary Terry is a knockoff of Freddy Krueger, and he uses the B word. And I'm like, this is now Roman Reigns.
He's never gonna win the fans over.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he's finished.
The promo was cookie cutter. The promo was it had no direction. His claims were so weak. Definitely SAWFT.
Soft.
And the whole time I'm sitting there like, why are you out there, Roman? Stop it. You're embarrassing yourself.
Honestly, I think it's going to come down to a point where it's going to have to be like an injury that's going to have to force him out for months. And it could be a fake injury.
It's going to
where they basically, yeah.
I mean, personalities like Ryback really loved it. But like even Dave Meltzer, he was like, that was just Roman really looks like, he has no idea what he's doing out there. Regurgitating stuff that he was taught to. Then if he has nothing else to say, he just uses AB. And it's sad. It's really sad because he is a good worker. He is. But Vince, I said it, and I don't feel sorry for saying it either. He needs to stop doing his promos.
I mean, Vince is hanging on to, 1980, 90, and early 2000s. Even him coming out and taking the headbutt of Doom.
Well, we'll get to that part in a second. Let's finish talking about the main beast incarnate.
Wait. Are we talking about No Mercy right now, or are we talking about SmackDown?
We're talking about Raw still. We're going to do our predictions after SmackDown.
I mean, Brock didn't show up. It was just Braun Strowman, right?
No, they did a interview.
Oh, interview. Well, I feel like they're doing a good job setting it up. I really do believe this could be that moment where they separate Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar.
No, See, that'd be stupid because I think Braun is doing a good job on the mic by himself. He really like at one point maybe, but I mean he doesn't say a lot. He's basically what everyone wanted Roman Reigns to be. There, I said it.
Wow. I really feel like also, again, as I said a couple weeks ago, Braun really has the voice of Hogan.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. And,
Like,
and I slightly hate you for making me think of that as he was doing that
if you
promo.
close your eyes, like, if he uses the word brother, he sounds just like Hogan. It's so weird and crazy.
That's insane.
Just listen, people. I just want the people to listen.
I get it.
Braun equals Hogan Jr.
Oh god.
24-inch pythons and all.
But the promo was pretty good though. I mean, Paul Heyman shot and Braun struck back. I mean, it was change, and then of course, Brock got his last words, and then he used his trademark catchphrase "Suplex City," and that was the end of it. And I thought it was great. It was a great way. That is a great way to build a main event between two titans. Oh gosh,
True.
titans.
You did. This is almost modern day Hogan versus Warrior, dare I say.
I could probably say that.
They're not as mega powered as Warrior and Hogan, but they're pretty big. Like, they're pretty big.
I can agree with that.
Like, I don't think Brock is ever going to be as big as either one of those guys. I think if Braun doesn't get hurt or anything like that, he could, depending on how they push him, I mean, he could be the next big thing.
I see. So I guess we could do our quick predictions.
Yeah, let's run through it, man. Let's run through it. Hate it.
All right. Neville versus Enzo Amore for the WWE Cruiserweight Championship.
King of the Cruiserweights retains via disqualification of some sort.
I got Neville winning in basically a squash match.
It's
Get in
poopy.
the ring, ref rings the bell. Enzo dance around for a few seconds. Neville kick him in the face. Ring of Saturn. I give up. And
Good night, Irene.
Finn Balor versus the.
I think Bray Wyatt wins this one. No demon. They're gonna try to play this whole no demon thing.
Yeah.
Bray Wyatt wins it.
I completely agree.
Yeah, it's so stupid. It's so stupid. Or somebody comes out and they create a new feud for one of them.
Oh boy. I mean, maybe they'll start doing the Wyatt versus the Balor Club, maybe.
Maybe.
But
highly doubtful.
Who knows? I mean, the Baldy Bros that you like to call him isn't even on the card, so you know.
That's why it was pointless for them to be even in the ring with the tag team champs.
Yeah. Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins versus the Bars for the WWE Raw Tag Team Championship.
I think the champs are gonna retain.
They have to retain.
It's pretty stupid. Yeah. I mean, Sheamus and Cesaro are a great tag team now that they've made it their own.
Yep.
I mean, it seems like at the beginning they might have been fighting it. I don't know if that was kayfabe or if they were really fighting it, but now they're like...
It was kayfabe.
They're really good now. I like it. It's chicken parm.
The Miz versus Jason Jordan for the IC Championship.
I think the Miz is gonna win.
I think they're gonna give the title to Jason Jordan to allow Miz to start getting
Oh, for the baby. I think he'll win this one, and then they'll give it to him on the next one
And
as she
that's
gets close
possible too.
to the second and third trimester,
That's
so that he
possible
can
too.
come to play after the baby's born.
The now fatal five way
Mm.
Raw's Women's Championship: Alexa Bliss versus Sasha Banks versus Bailey versus Nia Jax and Emma. Who do you
I
got?
mean, Nia Jax is not like most girls though.
Well, she's not like most girls, but she ain't getting opportunities like the other girls.
I really do think Emma might come away with this one.
I say Alexa Bliss gonna retain.
I don't know why she gets so much love. I don't really get what's happening. I mean, I don't know. I don't get it. I'm just not getting it.
It's the 5 foot of fury that people lose their. Like I said, I think Nikki Cross is absolutely.
And I think she's a better overall entertainer and wrestler too. So I can't wait
Well,
for
of
her to
course
come
she's
up.
a better wrestler.
Yeah,
Alexa Bliss
I
isn't
mean,
a wrestler. She's a sports entertainer.
true.
She's not
Crazy
here
Mary
to.
Dobson was a great character.
Yeah, she was.
That
Still
was a
is,
great
but
character.
unfortunately,
Yeah,
the whole
yeah, right.
WWE.
Exactly. It was a woman version of Mick Foley almost. I think she used to rip her hair out and everything.
Hmm.
Pretty sweet.
So we have Mr. You Can't See versus
You can,
the I Enjoy Making Vince McMahon
yikes.
show his masculinity as I do stuff with my wrist,
I'm going
aka
to
Roman
go with
Reigns.
I'm going to go with Big Match Johnny.
I think it's going to be Roman Reigns. Why I think it's going to be Roman Reigns has gotten the best of him in the verbal battle, and Roman Reigns is going to win the physical.
I think this is the only way to keep Roman Reigns out of the Universal title picture. They might have one or two more matches. I'm going to go Big Match Johnny, as Bradshaw likes to call him.
Oh gosh. Then we have our main event: Brock Lesnar defending his Universal at a Bailey event against Braun Strowman. Who do you got?
I think this might end in a no contest. This might end in the Triple G versus Canelo draw. No
Oh,
contest.
and the worst part is, I agree with you. There may be a 5% chance that Braun walks out, but 95% of that chance is definitely
Yeah,
flick off.
yeah, it's gonna be weird, man.
Like,
Unless like,
you don't have a card like this and have a title change for the
right,
championship. Like, you've never
right,
seen that. Granted, we
yeah.
have it
'Cause
on
I mean,
SmackDown, but that's different.
yeah. Because when you look at this, excuse me, oh my God, when you look at this, we got a chance here, and of course, we don't think Neville's gonna lose. This could be another one of those pay-per-views where all the champions retain, so that we could either prepare for a universal change or all the titles switch hands, so that we can get prepared for Montreal at the end.
Basically, SummerSlam.
Yes, if you recall, that was exactly what happened at SummerSlam. Because that's when they wanted Jinder to hold on to the title.
Yep. Well, the last 3 matches were championship matches, and
So we kind of assumed that he would lose. But I think the one before that, it switched hands because it was pretty crazy, and we thought he was gonna lose it, but he didn't because he's the most electrifying champion of all time.
no, it was AJ Styles. He won it.
He won it from Kevin
No,
Owens.
no. He came in as the champion, and he retained.
Hmm.
Jinder retained, and of course, Brock.
Brock Lesnar.
So, talk about SmackDown. What significant I really like the fact that they're using Ty Dillinger a lot more.
Yes. Well, what I was going to talk about was really from last week, I guess, because I don't think we really got a chance to talk about it. But I was saying with Vince McMahon taking the headbutt of doom from Kevin Owens, which you completely called with your massive reads. It was like 90s and 2000s wrestling all over again, with the blood pack,
It's the Kevin Owens that most entertaining Kevin Owens that's out there.
Which is really Steen.
Yes, it's a version of Kevin Steen. Like Kevin Steen, oh my, he was such a great entertainer, and he could wrestle. Best of both worlds. People don't understand how good he is. Like most people can't get around the fact of his physique.
Right.
But he is, like I said, top 10 in the world. Possibly top 5.
Gotcha. I mean, other than that, of course, Shane McMahon came back. But we expected that because Vince said he was going to bring her back.
Of course.
SmackDown
Women's title champion wrestler. She won,
of course,
and no, that wasn't it. It was a segment. It was actually the end of the show, actually. And Charlotte. No, it wasn't the end of the show. It was mid-show and the end of the show.
Right.
Charlotte was, talking.
Mm-hmm.
How, Charlotte versus Becky. Tamina with Lana in her corner. Lana is now back being a manager.
Wonderful.
Which.
So, it looks like just a cluster of crazy interference matches. Randy Orton versus Aiden English ended in,
I mean, I actually like the fact that they had Aiden English. I know he wasn't going to win, but the fact that they let him showcase his talent.
True.
I enjoyed that part. Rusev coming in and top 2 match, I instantly thought of
WrestleMania. I mean,
which is bad because that's one of the worst WrestleManias out there.
But who cares about a second match on SmackDown?
Apparently, Rusev did.
And then you already mentioned Ty Dillinger interfering in the next match with Baron Corbin and AJ Styles.
Yep, that's going to be a triple.
Which is good, because we want Ty Dillinger in the mix. So, because people like to say 10. Which is a perfect reason to push someone.
Shame that, that for him to finally get noticed. No. Universe, tell us. Oh, to bring him out there. Really?
What?
Because if that's the case, are my CM Punk ice cream bars.
Hilarious. That is so funny. I can't even control my laughter. Ha ha. Ha ha. Ha ha.
I see what you did there.
Where Can someone please tell me why the New Day faced the Hype Bros? Hmm,
It's not gonna be a split up. They're just gonna be more aggressive. So
gotcha.
basically, they're gonna turn into the Usos,
And then the
except
Usos,
without them going into racially.
like day one.
Yeah.
We've been hyped since day one, bro.
Oh gosh, if they do that, I am finished with the tag team division
But then of course you had the Dolph Ziggler, and then you also had Kevin Owens individual promos.
there. I love Kevin Owens promo. Like everything that Kevin Owens do, I love because that dang,
Wow.
he really is. He really is. And now that he's on SmackDown, you can see how much they're utilizing his dynamic skill set to
Hmm.
produce more cash, and it's working. He wasn't doing this stuff on Raw.
True.
Well, that's why I hope that Samoa Joe go to SmackDown.
What happened to Samoa Joe? He fell off the face of the earth.
He got injured, so he's out.
Got it. And what about Dolph Ziggler?
I don't want to talk about Dolph Ziggler because the company trying to force something on him that he's not that kind of entertainer. He is a dang good wrestler, and they should stick with him doing. I don't know if he got people pissed off backstage or something.
Hmm. He made a lot of reference. I mean, in this article with Bleacher Report, they made a lot of reference to Shawn Michaels and Triple H. I guess he had kind of came out and did their
He
entrances
did
or what?
Triple H's entrance first at
Oh,
Triple
God.
H time.
Right.
Then he did Shawn Michaels,
Oh, God.
and then he did 2006 DX.
What the heck?
So if you don't think this is a punishment, obviously people need to get.
I wonder what for.
I hope that he ends up out because he could be utilized way better than the different promotion. He deserves better. He can go to Ring of Honor and become the champion. Go to
Agreed.
WCPW, make some noise there. He can and pro wrestling have classic matches with like Kenny Omega,
True.
Okada.
True.
Like that's why I said I didn't want to talk about it because talent is by people with no talent.
And that right there, sir, is the greatest thing you have ever seen. But I think that's really about all we had tonight.
Yeah, actually, they Aleister Black taking the mic and in WWE.
Did he say anything?
Well, I didn't listen to it yet.
Ah,
So we had.
we'll definitely check it out. We'll definitely check it out. I mean, this is Debate Amongst Friends, baby.
Yes. And I mean, I guess if you want to talk about the NXT, had Wolfgang, very underutilized title. I'm glad that they at least showed it.
Hmm.
And they need to feature Bruiserweight a lot more. Pete Dunne, he needs to be
I
on the
really
show
think
a lot more.
I really think he's so good. Like, uh, I hate the fact that he's a bruiserweight, and you have all these cruiserweights that aren't good, but he's the bruiserweight, which I don't know if he's 205, but somebody please put that man in more matches.
That's what it is. He needs to be on television.
I mean, he's really good. I really enjoy his move set. I really enjoy really what he brings. And like I told you, the only thing I have a problem with that whole thing is that they brought all those wrestlers over and then they just let them go. And it's like they have to do a better job of getting back to rankings. When we were growing up,
There's no such
when
thing
we
as that anymore.
yeah, when we were growing up, it was like power rankings. It was like even in the games, it was like who deserves a title shot right now.
Yes. You have to rise in the ranks. Absolutely. I
Right.
completely agree with you.
Now it's just like, oh, forget those rankings. We just gotta paint a picture to make it look good. Oh, this person's getting a shot because, my son really likes him.
Man, forget your son. Get your son
But that's
and
the
your
way
whole
it is.
family. Get in the back of the
And
line. What's wrong with you?
that's like Jason Jordan. I mean, he went tag team to now Intercontinental title chase.
Be ashamed when he wins the title.
Will
Because
someone
he already
please?
lost the first time he went for the title. That's what I'm saying. He's gonna.
I get you, man. I don't know.
I mean, I guess the other thing that probably be the last thing we'll talk about. Potential rumor back to the WWE.
I mean, there's so many stars that could come back. I mean, please do tell.
One of the hottest superstars in the WWE, Ring of Honor champion, aka Star.
But see, they said that's for one day only.
Yeah,
That's stupid.
yeah.
When they could have let the tag teams go over for the Hardys event.
Yep.
So that's dumb.
And I guess the
Well, I was just gonna say,
go for it.
what's happening with his wife though? Like, has his wife ever started wrestling, or did she
She's
just
wrestling.
If she is okay,
Yeah, she's wrestling. Yeah.
but maybe that was her whole thing. She wanted to wrestle.
Yeah, she's wrestling. Those.
Mm, 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 mm.
Hella, get back to the
Huh?
office.
Oh, okay. There was one more thing you wanted to just mention really
Yes,
quickly.
they was talking about the lack of ticket, low attendance for WWE. We're talking
What?
about televised live show.
Oh, I don't know about televised. So I know that I don't know if it's gonna be televised or not, but I know the Monday when Doc and Prof come back from Tampa
I see.
in October,
I
not
see.
Senor
I
October.
see. I knew he was gonna do that.
There will be a live event here in Raleigh. I don't know if that's a Raw or
I think
what
that's
that
wrong.
is, but I mean, it was put a little grumbling really until like last week. I don't know if it's maybe they're advertising it too late.
No, the fact that their content sucks.
I mean, I'm considering going. I mean, not gonna spend more than $15, but
Their content sucks.
I mean, if it's more than $15, I might just have to
No,
stay at home.
Doc, the prof is telling you. We just got finished talking about all the stuff that's happening. There's only, what, 4 or 5 things that's actually interesting. Everything else is complete garbage.
I mean, it's really usually just sweet to see the entrances and just see it live. I haven't seen a live event in years.
I will agree with you. I haven't seen one since I was a kid. There
Yeah.
when Diesel WWE Championship Bob Backlund. I was live there.
Wow. That wasn't a long match, though.
No, it was.
It was so quick.
Like one of my cousins was like, "Wait, is that all?
Yeah, that's it.
What a quick match!
On the damn towel. On the damn towel.
Someone stop the dang match!" No, I wasn't being serious. It's
It's
like,
over.
no. Fast. It gets better.
No, that's it. Power bomb. 1, 2, 3. He spent more energy getting down to pin Bob Backlund than the actual power bomb.
Yes, he got up and he was just sweating bullets.
Almost tearing a hammy or a
Oh,
quad.
he tore a quad, all right.
Everybody's got a quad.
Wow. Wow. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do our final thoughts. Doc, what are your final thoughts for this week for the people?
So I have a few here. Clearly, interesting takes here. So Michael Beasley from the Professor John Gotti's New York Knicks is excited about joining the Knicks, stating he's basically Carmelo Anthony. He just plays on the left side instead of the right. Interesting because Carmelo is still optimistic about joining the Doc's Houston Rockets and feel as though a deal could be done by Monday. Of course, details on that trade still kind of speculative, so we're going to see what happens with that. With the hurricane season, still in full effect, Tim Duncan did make sure that people didn't forget about the Virgin Islands. Of course, that being his hometown, he was out there just making sure that people knew that, hey, there was a lot of damage to the U.S. Virgin Islands, and that he feel like, yes, Houston and Miami and other parts of Florida are, deserve the time and effort and money, but please don't you forget about the U.S. Virgin Islands, as per Tim. Exactly. DeMaurice Smith has re-upped and re-elected as the executive director of the NFLPA. His contract now extended through what I believe 2021. And on the other side of the coin, the Roger Goodell almost got a new deal.
You was fine the first time you did it. Now it's not.
Roger Goodell. Goodell hype. Goodell hype or no hype, bro. So his extension is almost complete. I know that there was an issue between the voters and Jerry Jones. He just must have not been feeling Goodell or had some hesitation about Goodell. But it seems like the deal is in the works of getting done for the commish. And that's all the doc has to say about that.
I see. One subject we forgot to talk about was the
We didn't talk about that. It's pretty ridiculous.
Where she says some things that we won't. About our commander-in-chief, not ours, but the.
Mm-hmm.
That set the whole world on fire. Well, at least the Twitter world and Facebook debating world, like frick. How come she's not getting fired? I can agree. Has remained hush hush. At the same time, it's like ESPN. What do you expect? All they've literally been doing, putting their own foot in their content has dropped so dramatically. It is insane.
And can I be honest though about that point though? We obviously had Sage Steele for a while, and obviously she is no longer with ESPN, I guess, in that capacity.
But with her comments, like, that was just blatant. That was like if you had to compare the two, I think Sage Steele's comment was really, really bad.
But see, I guess my point is in this situation, it's like it took it took them a long time to get rid of Sage Steele, and she made a lot of interesting comments.
Oh, absolutely.
But the thing about Hill is that number one, it's a part of her personality.
I will say that
E-
she does this
e-
all the time.
Right. It's not something brand new. It's not something different. And I wonder really, out of everybody that was on Twitter, how many people actually sat there and watched ESPN Live and got this broadcast as it was coming through, opposed to reading other people's comments first, seeing it after reading people's comments, because that makes a big difference. And that's where the problem. Because like I know I didn't watch it live. I didn't even hear. I never even heard the whole comments. All I know is that people are calling for her head, and I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I mean, let me just stop you right
I just want to
there.
go. Have you
It's
watched? Have you watched Sports Center? Before?
exactly.
Like what's new? There's nothing new. But you're acting this way because she said something that certain people don't necessarily agree with because it's on a political nature. But the problem is ESPN has allowed that kind of nature from happening, from occurring for the past couple of years because their content has took such a hit. They're just saying anything else to get people in and be controversial and create the cash, a la Vince McFrickin-Man,
A la
and it
Michael Wilbon.
and it lead to people saying a lot of controversial stuff that's not creating cash. It creates more controversy and
Absolutely.
light a
More
fire.
more reasons, more things for people to talk about.
Exactly, and that's not the good reasons either.
Not even close.
So that was one thing. Another thing that we needed to talk about was had one of our own, well, alma mater. One person in particular, because Kedron Clark was inducted in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference basketball honor roll, or it's their Hall of Fame, past Saturday. Clark, who graduated in 2000, graduated from St. Peter's. They put St. That's besides the point.
Besides the point.
He is the all-time leading scorer in the state of New Jersey and is also currently the second on the MAC all-time scoring chart after compiling 3,058 career points. He left college ranked 6th on the D
Mhm.
players all time to surpass 3,000 points. He was inducted alongside other Peacock alumni, Patty Marchese Al, as well. Big congrats to both of them. Congrats to both of them.
I think he was fifth until Doug McDermott came in. He was fifth because
He
Doug
was
came
fifth,
in
and
and
then he went
dominated.
back down. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, he was definitely fifth. Doug dominated, but definitely continue.
Doug dominant. Well,
Yeah, yeah. Let's not talk about
you're starting
Doug.
to. You're starting to
I'm sorry.
cast me.
No, no, no. Not McBuckets. Not McBuckets. Let's not talk about McBuckets.
Buckets plus.
Plus.
Of course, we have a WWE Hall of Famer, Bobby the Brain Heenan, passed away this past Sunday at the age of. Now confirmed that is due to. He was definitely part of both growing up, part of quite possibly hand wrestling history.
Gorilla Monsoon.
I mean, just thinking about all the classic, interactions between the two, like, and they brought it to where it really sounded like they both despise each other, but they were the best of friends.
It was the introduction of the face and heel really commentator.
Exactly, and they did such a great job, and it's since then, but to capture
Mm-hmm.
that same special know-how. And the closest we got with that one was Jerry the King Lawler, and that's the closest
Agreed.
we got.
Agreed.
He was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2004. Possibly one of the greatest managers of all time as well.
Mm-hmm.
He had a wrestling stable called the Heat. Included people like Big King Kong Bundy, Ravishing Rick, Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig, Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard. Definitely a key element in the rise of Hulkamania. While he was with WWE, not like the Legion of Doom. And you know, he's always been a great person for the fans. Kevin Castle, Don Tony, Solomonster, personable.
Absolutely. You,
Have to speak that.
no, you got one more,
Oh man,
and,
what was the last
and
one
that
again?
is the last one is the what culture.
Oh yes, breaking news today. Out in our people pond, we have 5 members of the culture. They announced they were leaving the company for other projects. Are Adam Blampier, Adam Pacitti, Jack King.
That's so crazy.
What makes this top personality?
Right.
I've been watching them since I was able to get stock onto it. A lot of the quality of definitely helped us out. A lot of the analysis that we do. Currently, they're opening up their own. It's kind of the same about what happened with Craig Chris Mata, acquired by definitely wishing them great on Twitter and just keep. If we find out any other news, ladies and gentlemen, follow our Facebook.
Never gets
Myself,
old.
Ken86, the doc at what happened with that. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of our album. The go
It's
ahead.
taken from the album Messiah Complex.
There we go. Thank you very much, sir. You should give Helen $5. Go give her $5 right now.
That was my hand.
Oh God. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to every single Wednesday evening. Audio issues. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe onto the channel, leave a comment. Quite active in the social community, so catch our Rick and Morty Cap show every single Duke as we recap the mini and the next coming episode. I am your host, The.
And this is the Doc.
Podcast channel.
Taste the ocean.
Who's trying to bang all at the same game? Silence recreates the silence, it's the right for there's discrimination. Who's testing the game? We're all the same. I shall spin blood, there's coming soon. Time out, money works, slices up this round. And the time when you come as a bottom, feel ridiculous of intervention. Who's running the pain, watching the fame, watching. Living, stay out this we die every day. I don't believe everything can be waste. Who's passing away? We're all the same.